my name is Mark Minson. Go ahead, take that slide.
Yes.
You're in magic systems, just in case you weren't sure. Okay. I'm out there, Kyle by Fire and Will from Actions. And soon to be Nick of Time. Now we'll finish out the series, the Phoenix Cycle series. So it's a modern fantasy, basically in a world where everybody has at least some level of magic. Okay? And that's why you're here, and that's why I'm presenting on this. Okay? Go ahead, next one. I'm also an honorable mention in the Writer of the Future contest for a short story that I wrote called The Witching Hour. It was a fun different take on the whole concept of witches and wizards. All right. So what are the three most recognizable magic systems that we know? Harry Potter. Okay. Harry Potter. Okay. Harry Potter, Tolkien, and Star Wars. Okay. That's awesome. It's not even wrong.
Star is good enough.
That's all right.
We only get half of Star Wars.
That's fine. You understand. Okay. That was the slide is bigger.
That's because the wars aren't happening.
Okay. All right. Before we get into that, though, I need to start with the answers to some of the most common questions I get. 2009, junior high, 9th grade, 5. A round robin with a writing group. Yes, no, France, and 42. If we have time at the end, we can go into the questions. All right, so Harry Potter. Harry Potter's magic system. I kind of broke them down into the who, what, when, where, why, and how, right? So in Harry Potter, only some humans get to have magic. The rest of them are called muggles, right? How do they perform their magic? It's through spells. What do they need to perform magic? They have to have a wand.
Sorry.
Are you monkey about the resolution?
I was going to try and fix that for you, but maybe I won't.
I'm not going to worry about it.
It's okay.
Most of the stuff should be fairly centered, so we'll get most of it. Okay. When do they use their magic? Okay, whenever it makes sense in the story. They're not using magic all the time. They do a lot of stuff without it. Alright? Where? They can only do it at school until they're 17, and then they can do it anyway. Right? On the why, we're going to talk about why in a minute. Alright, let's go to the next one. Okay, Lord of the Rings. Who can do magic? Gandalf, Tom Bombadil. They all have some level of magic. Saruman and Sauron all have magic. And I actually just reread that finished it about a week ago to make sure that I remembered everything correctly. Because the movies are not like the book. Alright, and I'm also going to talk about that. Alright, how do they do magic? Never says. It just kind of happens, right? What do they use to do their magic? Wizards have staffs, and there are a bunch of old magical objects that are hanging around from ancient days. That nobody knows how they work. Well, no, people know how they work, but they don't know how they were made. Okay? And when do they use it? Whenever it's needed to save the heroes. Amazingly, that's the only time the magic ever pops out in this in that whole series is whenever the heroes need to be saved. Generally, somebody comes along and uses magic. Okay? It still works and we all love it, but there are some. I do have Tolkien is my bad example magic system. Despite the fact that for a lot of us older people, unfortunately, I can now include myself in that realm. That was what we founded a lot of our fantasy and our understanding of magic on. Okay, and where it's everywhere. They use it all over the place. Right? Now, Star Wars. If you were in this morning, we had there was not in this room, the cross-genre panel. We talked about the fact that Star Wars is a cross-genre movie, right? It's a cross-genre story. It's a science fiction and it's fantasy. Because they have really cool advanced technology and they have a magic system. The Force is a magic system. Okay? So who can do it? The Jedi and the Sith. How? It's midi-chlorian count, baby. The higher the better. What do they use? It's hand waving. Right? So not the droids you're looking for. It's a lot of this. If we didn't know they were using Force, we'd be terrible minds. Right? Whenever it's necessary. They don't go all kung fu with it and they're using it on, walking down the hall. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Although sometimes rush hour traffic, that was super awesome. And you. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and mix that one. Purpose. Excellent. Okay. This is where the slides that I did not leave at home go. So the first question that you need to answer when you create a magic system in your story, why do I have a magic system in my story? It has to serve a purpose. All right, now you can have it, is it because there are magical creatures? Because everybody loves dragons and dragons are cool, right? Is that why we have, or because we've incorporated elves of some sort into our system, or into our world? So are you following along some tropes? Does it affect your plot? So the first question you need to ask as you are writing your story that you decided you want to have magic in, can I take the magic out and still write the same story? Okay? Your magic has to have a purpose. If it doesn't have a purpose, if it doesn't... Lord of the Rings, most of the action is fighting. Right? But the magic has a purpose. It always saves the heroes from being. Gandalf comes along, Tom Bombadil comes along, elves come along, somebody comes along and has that ability. And don't think about the movies, because, again, they're not the same. Okay? Movies make it worse. Alright? So, the purpose can be anything. Your magic system is really, it's up to you what you want it to be. Alright? So in my books, the magic system is everybody has some level of magic. But only those who are mid-level or higher have a talent. And there are 10 known talents. Alright? So, while Kyle, who is the hero, or main character in my first book, Kyle is a metalworking talent. Metalworking overlaps a little bit with earth talents, so he can do some of that earth talent magic, but he doesn't do it as well as somebody who's natural earth talent. Even though he has the highest level of magic that he can possibly have, it's a metalworking. He's very focused. Okay? So he can do some of the stuff that his friend James does. And James is an earth talent, but James is just a mid. James still does it better than he does. Alright? So, and they can do, really your magic system can be anything, right? We have The Sorcerer's Apprentice movie, right? They're sitting in the car, and the apprentice asks him, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. And he says, so, is it science or magic? Notice how he says, oh. Right? The magic system is based on the concept of using science to create magic, to make things happen. Right? Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series, the magic is produced by consuming metal. If you've read that, if you haven't, you should read it. Excellent. All right, and then you have Artemis Fowl. That's a middle grade series. It's really fun if you get past the first book. It's really fun if you get past the introduction or the first part of the first book. Because I read the first part of the first book and I put it down. I didn't come back to it for several years. Until my daughter was like, oh, you have to read all these. And I'm like, oh, I tried. So I got past the first book, that first part of the first book, and I enjoyed the rest of the book. And I went on to read probably 7 or 8 other books in that series besides the first book, because of the library. But in that series, fairies have magic, but they have a limited supply. And they have a very specific ritual they have to go and perform in order to recharge their magic. Right? So their magic system, and they marry it with technology. And they do some really cool, fun stuff in those books. But so the magic system has some limitations to it, right? And some of the fun story in those stories come because the fairy, a little headstrong, and she runs out of magic on a regular basis. Right? And that puts her in precarious situations where she would do something cool with magic, and she'd dry. Right? She'd run out of all her bullets, and now she has to figure out some other way to conquer her. Alright? Okay, so let's go on to artifacts. So, this is the one I made for a neighbor of mine. What do your magic users need to do magic? Right? Do they need a wand? In Harry Potter, everybody has a wand. Without a wand, you apparently can't do magic. And in my series, a wand focuses and enhances your magic ability, but at close range, you can still do magic. And in fact, when magic users first discovered that they had magic abilities, they didn't even have wands. Wands came along later. It's an enhancement to what they can do and allow them to give a greater distance to their spellcasting. Right. And Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, the wizards all have staffs. Okay? And that apparently is the key and the source of their power. As given at the beginning of Return of the King, when Gandalf breaks Saruman's staff and renders him powerless as a wizard. Which was I thought rather interesting, because it'd been a long time. And so when I read that, I'm like, so if somebody stole Gandalf's staff, he's not. Alright. Just a nice old man in woods. Alright. So Andrea Pearson, who is also a presenter and panelist here, she has her Cape University series. And the people in that have the ability to use magic, which are fourths or thirds. I don't remember. Anyway, humans have been restricted to a certain amount of children. Generally having a fourth child is really, really hard to do, and every fourth child is always born with magic. Okay? But to learn to use that magic, they need a focus. And the main character of her series plays the cello. Some of them fold paper, her best friend draws on her hand. And that helps her focus on her magic and then be able to produce it. Eventually they can get their focus because they learn how to harness the magic internally. But it starts with the focusing gives a fun way to introduce the magic system and having people do funny, weird things. One guy folds paper airplanes. On throws paper airplanes to focus his magic. Alright? Okay. So implementation. think this is mine. Okay. So how do they use magic? Is it through spells? Do they just will it to happen? And then what are the limits? This is like the biggest part of my whole presentation. This is the one part I paid attention to. Every magic system needs rules. And you, as the author, have to understand what those rules are and abide by them. If you establish rules and then you break them, your readers will put your book down and never pick it up again. Because they will understand you suck. They will not like you anymore. Okay? Magic is cool and it can be wielded effectively if you do it within some rules. Yes?
In one of the last year's panels with Brandon Sanderson, he was talking about magic system. He says that one of the reasons that you don't see a lot of Gandalf's magic is that there aren't rules in place about why they can use the magic. And so the magic system isn't complex enough, so he doesn't use it very often. So we're just in awe of it instead of going, there's no reason for this magic.
That is exactly it. Like I said, it only comes in to save the heroes. Gandalf uses very little magic, despite the fact that he's a wizard. They tell us he's a wizard. He has this staff that glows really brightly. And that, outside of breaking Saruman's staff and commanding Saruman to come back to the edge of the balcony at the end of Return of the King, is about the extent of Gandalf's magic. Which is horribly disappointing, right? You create a main character. Gandalf is a seriously main character. And you tell us he's a wizard and you don't give us. You don't deliver on the promise of a wizard. Okay? And that is one of my biggest issues with Hope. He doesn't deliver on the promise. I am promised wizards. I am promised some pretty dang cool stuff. He gave me magic. And I don't get it. Never get it. At the big final battle, and this is, we'll dive into this right now, okay? In the movies, they do it worse. They take Tolkien's vague magic system and they make it worse. Okay? Gandalf rides into the middle of the Nazgul in the movie. Raises his staff, shines a bright light. Okay? And the Nazgul fly off. Scares him away. Awesome, sweet. He rides back with the other riders. They get back. Massive final assault on Minas Tirith. Where's Gandalf? He's on the wall with a sword in his hand and his staff. Meanwhile, the Nazgul are wreaking havoc on Minas Tirith. And he's stabbing orcs. Okay? He totally blows his only purpose is to defend them against the Nazgul with his staff. He's standing up on the third tier, keeping the Nazgul away, but instead he's down in the trenches, stabbing orcs. I'm letting hundreds of people die because the Nazgul are just crazy on Minas Tirith. Right? Like I said, they took the movie and made it so much worse than it really was. In the book, the final battle before the Black Fleet, the only description we have of Gandalf is he is standing on the center, so there are mounds. There are mounds in front of the gate, the Black Gate. And he is standing in the middle of the mound holding the sword. And that is Gandalf's purpose. The final battle of the whole series, the whole thing, the crux of saving everybody that is not bad. Right? Our wizard stands with the bull. Because he has no other purpose. Don't do that. Okay? That is why the first thing that I mentioned is your magic system has to have a purpose. Otherwise, get rid of it. Make your characters creative. Make them find ways to get out of their situation without having to resort to magic. If it doesn't really have a purpose. Otherwise, you will get to the end of the book if they make it that far. And they will be disappointed. Because you didn't deliver. We had this really cool magic system, and it didn't need to be there. Alright, okay. So let's talk from, I've totally belittled something enough, I think. So what are the rules behind Harry Potter's magic system? J.K. Rowling.
Wait, magic wand, say funny words.
Okay. What else?
You have to say the words correctly, and you have to switch your wand correctly.
Swish and flick. Leviosa, not Leviosa. Okay. What else?
You have to wand.
Okay.
There's kind of a combination between like power of wizard and power of wand. Like, I'm not sure how the power works, but sometimes you're more powerful if you have a better wand. Sometimes you're just more powerful because you're better.
Okay. That's right.
And also, in like Harry Potter, like they have now, like J.K. Rowling has explained all the different like countries and how they do things differently, and it's like the African one they point instead of using their wands, so there's like different ways that they learn, and their roots are definitely that's how they use that magic.
Okay. So she's expanded her universe. Right. In the books themselves, we get a very tight focus, which I don't know if that's ever bothered anybody else, but if the most evil dark wizard ever around is suddenly taking control of the United Kingdom, doesn't really care. Right? I mean, where's in the final assault on Hogwarts? Where's Durmstrang? Where's the French set? Oh, we don't care. It's your problem. Everybody conquers us, guys. Don't worry about it. Okay? Unfortunately, that's what the world did with Hitler, but apparently we don't learn from history, we just start to repeat it. Okay? Anything else? Do we have any other rules? Is there anything they can't do?
Can't teleport into Hogwarts. Or apparate, sorry.
Right. Can't apparate in or out of it. They come to us. Yes.
You can't create food.
Okay. Okay. They don't have super creation, which is where Star Trek does them.
Can't bring people back from the dead.
Okay.
Or the most part.
Right, there are ways around that. A couple of Horcruxes here and there, and apparently just alright. Okay. So just reading the book, she doesn't ever really tell us much about this. We get a lot of wand lore towards the end, because that's very important. Towards the end. Prior to that, she just gives you little hints. Little pieces. In the very first book, though, she tells you that there's going to be a problem between, or there's going to be some sort of issue with Harry's wand and Voldemort's wand. Very first time you get to Ollivander shop, Ollivander degrees, a little bit of that foundation. And she then capitalizes on later in the story, which is absolutely awesome. Okay? And that's what you need to do with your stories, with your magic systems. Alright? Okay. What about Star Wars? What are the rules? What are the rules of the Force?
Disposition books that are don't affect your use of it.
Okay. I'll go with that.
Your strength is your willpower. As long as you really believe, no matter what, you can do it. There's no limit. But the limit is, there is a limit, but the limit is your will.
Okay.
You get better at it as you practice.
Okay, practice makes perfect. The better you learn, we have to learn to harness the force that's around you. Okay.
Some Jedi or Sith are often going to be more proficient in one area of force concentration than the other. Maybe one Jedi is better at using this force for healing, or maybe one Jedi is better at using this force like throws enemies around,
Okay.
or force lightning.
Alright, and there are good and bad effects, right? You don't see anybody on the Jedi Council throwing force lightning. Apparently that's the dark side. So there is some, you kind of have to choose your path. You can't straddle. Although there's a really interesting theory about Mace Windu being Snoke based on the fact that he tried to straddle the dark side, so you can go Google that and find out. But, okay. So the Force does have some rules. The Jedi are not allowed to be married, but with Episode 7 and this whole new series that's it appears like most of that was like stupid. Because everybody went out and had children. But, okay. Did it help them? No. Why couldn't they get married? Collateral damage. That was entirely the reason. Jedi cannot be married for collateral damage. Right? Because your spouse gets kidnapped, your kids get kidnapped. Suddenly you're doing things you shouldn't be doing or don't want to be doing with these amazing powers that you have been given because somebody that you love and care about is in danger. And your Anakin Skywalker. Okay? Alright, let's go to the next one. Okay. So now that you have a magic system, you have decided that in your story your magic system has purpose. It's going to do stuff, it's going to further your plot, it's going to help your characters. You've given it rules, but you're not going to break them. Okay? What are the ramifications of having magic in your world?
That's done. If there comes a time when it would be reasonable to use it, they have to use it.
Okay. What does it do in everyday life?
It gives hope.
Okay.
Like in the Harry Potter is for like Fantastic Beasts, like they create this government system in which they're like, okay, we have to be responsible, so it ties into that. Okay, now we have to start making rules for the world to compensate for magic.
Okay.
When one country has more magic users and one country has almost no magic users, their technologies will probably converge in completely different ways.
Okay.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I heard something one time from writing excuses about if it's easier for the donkey to do it, the donkey will still do it, but if it's easier for the magic to do it, the magic will do it. If that makes sense.
I'll go with that. Okay. We look at Harry Potter as an example. Arthur Weasley's fascinated with muggle objects. One of my favorite lines is, what is the purpose of a rubber duck? Okay? Their world is so different, and in some ways backwards, because they use magic. But the world outside has advanced technologically and in different ways that they haven't had to. Because they do it with magic. I would love to wash my dishes with magic. Mm-hmm. My wife would love to be able to just cast a spell and have all of her knitting done by knitting needles in the air. That would be super awesome. Yes.
A lot of things, like in magic systems in different books, is that there's always the question of should we, if we can do it without magic, should we? Or should we just make our lives easier and use magic? And that is a lot of like, there are usually two sides. One that's like, why can't we use magic? And the other one's like, no, it's irresponsible to use it, to do this without magic.
Okay? Sometimes doing things without magic has other ramifications. Griphook decides to help Harry Potter because he watches Harry Potter dig a hole with his bare hands to bury a dog instead of using magic. And that so impresses him that despite the fact that he betrays him later, he at least promises to help. He helps them get in to Gringotts to the point where they can achieve what they need to achieve. But he only makes that decision because Harry decides not to use. Alright. No. Did you have something there?
No.
My story, my series, takes place in the future. I think it's 2542 when the story starts. But it's based around the historical concept that at the Salem witch trials, they were actually trying real magic users. Okay? Real witches, people could actually use magic. And those people went off, eventually ran away and hid because, I don't know, trying to be killed. And over time, they gathered a fairly large following. And then a world war took place. Early 1800s. Wiped out half of Earth's population, which at the time was not that great to begin with. Right? So everything had to start over. Industrial Revolution took longer to get kicked into place because now they had magic. And eventually, over time, all non-magic users are dead. Everybody in the world has some sort of magic. And the world progresses. So what does that do? I had to sit down and think really long and hard. What ramifications the fact that everybody had some level of magic had on the world. So they don't have washing machines and dryers, they have a washing box. You have the clothes in it, you fill it with water, and then there are spells that spin the water. You drain the water, and there's spells that run air. There's an air spell that dries all your clothes, and you take them out, and you're done. Excellent space. And electricity. Okay? How important is that in my world that they have a washing box? That much. Absolutely that much. But I mention it because our main character has a tendency to not do his laundry. It's one of his tricks, one of his quirks. So he has a mountain of dirty laundry in his room at almost any given time. Right? So he mentions the washing box. The washing box gets mentioned later as they talk about magic, things that low magic users can use and do. Those are the ramifications that it has in my world. And I had to really, it was a very interesting process for me to sit down and think back, taking it all the way back to the 1800s in history. Lots of research ended up going into where they were at technologically, what was available to them that time, and how does that get affected as they go forward with all of the different talents that were available to them and the discovery of more talents. Where does that all mean? So take that into account that introducing a magic system may involve more work than you anticipated. When I finished book 2, I could tell you how far a carriage could drive in a day. And what level of weaponry, as far as guns are concerned, was available in the early 1800s. I can't anymore because I moved on to book 3, which takes us back to 2542. So that was. Now my brain is in the present. Alright, let's go ahead. Okay. So last but not least, beware the Superman syndrome. Who can tell me what the Superman syndrome is?
All powerful, no flaws.
Okay.
Kryptonite came in later because of that.
Exactly. All right, when Superman was first drawn as a comic, everybody loved the space alien. All right, leaps tall buildings in a single bound, faster than a speeding bullet. Super awesome. And in a very short period of time, super. All right. What fun is it to read about a character who can't be beat? No matter what those bad guys had, you could just walk over them, take them, throw them down. They couldn't beat him. There was no way to defeat Superman. So, the writers had to introduce kryptonite. They had to make up a whole story to deal with the fact that Superman couldn't be beaten. They had created somebody so strong and so powerful that it didn't matter what the bad guys had. He was too good. Okay? And your magic system can tend to that flaw. And that is something you need to watch out for. At the end of your story, I better not ever read from any of you in here, everybody else that can screw up. Okay? That somehow your hero whips out this massive, awesome spell or magic thing that saves the day. Right? Oh, you know, I can carry this around in my back pocket the whole dang time. We're just gonna go ahead and beat him. And the rest of the characters look at him and go, "You've had that in your book, the whole freaking book!" All right, to take a quote from the Muppet movie, this is going to be very short. Right? Because that's not how it works, and your readers will, again, teach you. If your hero is going to use some major, awesome, cool, magic thing at the end, page 5, you better start figuring out how to do it. So when he whips it out at the end, and it's not going to be an easy process, it's not whatever it is, when he whips that out at the end, he finally beat the bad guy, he finally figures out what it is he needs to do. I better totally saw it coming. On page 5. Or she, right? Because otherwise, you cheated. You broke your rules. Because there were limitations that he had to overcome in order to get where he is at the very end. And if he had all this magic at the end, I better understand why we have it on page 5. And why this is a novel and not a short story. Okay. So I have finished book 3 of my series. How my characters beat the bad guy is completely contained in book 1. But it worked. It was so awesome. I was so excited. Okay? Nothing new. I introduced you to absolutely nothing new in book 3 that helps them beat the bad guys.
I don't think so.
They win by clever usage of stuff that I introduced. It's the combination of that, and it's the collective creativity of my characters that win. And that's what makes it exciting. There is no super cool, awesome, totally overpowering spell that destroys the bad guy. And he actually doesn't get destroyed. Fortunately, he is. And the quote Princess Bride, that's stupid. Doesn't he? Somebody kill him. Okay? But it's the creative use of the magic that you have seen established and used over the course of all of those books that wins the day. So my magic system has purpose. In the end, it is the magic, it is the use of spells that ends up saving humanity on some level. Right? But my books are about the characters and not the magic system. And in every case, your book should be about the characters and not the magic system. Your magic should totally be awesome and do really cool things because that's what readers like. But they have to love the characters. Or it doesn't matter how cool your magic system is. Someone else has approach it and put in really good characters. I'm done with that. Because you didn't do a good enough job to go with your magic system. Okay. Any questions that have not already been asked?
Besides your own, what is your favorite magic system you've seen in a book?
I really would have to go with Artemis Fowl.
Okay.
Because of the combined, the way they marry it with technology. And so by day, I'm a software tester, and I have a background in computer networking. So the combination of magic and technology together just is a little geek party. Okay? So that really, I think, is from the way that he uses that in those stories is my favorite.
What's the option?
I have absolutely no idea. I'm really bad with author names. I'm okay with book titles, but eventually you read so much that it all kind of grays together, and especially since I just spent 2.5 weeks reading Lord of the Rings again, a lot of other stuff hadn't flushed in memory. Anything else? We still got time.
Don't have a to teach them everything. So you as the author know the magic system. How do you go about conveying that? How much of that magic system do you have to help your readers? I'll take a small fraction without making hits.
So, generally speaking, most main characters don't know much about magic. And they have some sort of mentor. There's your mentor character, your Gandalf, your Dumbledore, your Obi-Wan that comes along to teach your main character. I think if we're talking, if your magic system is only ever gets touched on by okay, so let's pretend Obi-Wan was killed before he meets Luke Skywalker and somehow discovers the Force. And he's got to kind of figure it out on his own. That's hard to say. That really is. You have to at least begin. You have to test the boundaries. I think the biggest thing for your main character to convey a magic system that is so lightly touched on, and make it believable, is not to find numbers in the magic system. I can do this, but I can't do that. I tried, it's just if I can, what else can I and can I not do as they explore that, let them find those rules and define those rules. And even if you don't use magic that much, your readers it will be a believable magic system because they see that there are confines. And at the end of your story, he's not going to do some big major magic thing because there are other scenarios. And if he does, okay. All right. Well, thanks for coming. I really appreciate it.